Hello, it's Monday, April 27th, and that means two things. This episode is coming out late due to hard drive issues I had all weekend, and it's also time for the Lighting Bulletin, the best source of lighting industry news, brought to you by Sansi LED and their patented ceramic LEDs for horticultural uses. Use the link in the description so they know I sent you. Otherwise, let's get into the news with U.S. regulators blocking a LumiLED's acquisition. Sanan and Inari will be backing out of a proposed $240 million deal over resistance from the U.S. Committee on Foreign Investment in the U.S. Siemens might spin off its Healthineers business. The share split will be decided by vote at their next annual general meeting. EC&M has named their 2026 Products of the Year category winners. The final prizes will be named on June 22nd. The IES is now accepting progress report submissions. The final deadline for that is May 8th. Arcos Light and RBW have announced a new exclusive U.S. distribution partnership. That deal was announced at Leducation. Brazil Bros will rep Halco in the U.S. Northeast. Wind Supply has held their 2026 annual meetings. The company and vendor awards were also named at those meetings. In updates from Signify, they have completed their second share buyback with 725,000 shares back with the board bought at roughly 14 million euros. Sales were down last quarter at Signify, with sales dropping by 12%, and Signify led the EU in lighting patent filings, specifically 784 applications for new patents. Q3 at LSI shows that net sales were up 14%, income at 2.1 million USD, and shareholders will get a dividend of a nickel per share on the 4th. Profits were down at Fagerhult. Net sales amounted to 1,821 million Swedish kroner. And the National Lighting Bureau has endorsed AI. For what goals? Shrug. That they just want to do an AI. They don't know what for yet. In People News, we have two promotions at Genlight. Takeo Matsumoto has been named president and CEO at Ushio. Rick Andrich is now the president of AGC. Chris Marlowe has been announced as the new president of IESD at AD. The IU Environmental Resilience Institute has declared that Ellen Ketterson, one of their board members, is a hero. Andrew Mikulak has been picked as VP of Distro at Border States, and Joe Huffman has announced his retirement. Hey, you should follow the Lighting Bulletin on LinkedIn, because there's a whole other blog of just links of recommended reading that you should check out. That link also in the description. Opel has published a white paper on human-centric lighting. This is China's first ever home healthy lighting environment white paper. This was released to go alongside their AI design service. See, that's how you endorse AI, guys. You just say what you're doing with it. Geez, NLB. Energy Focus is getting into storage in Japan. They have bought a 35% stake in Meihodo Company and Yuka Power Japan Co. to, again, store energy from renewable sources. Sheetz, the convenience store chain, has hit an energy goal with a 20% reduction in energy use across the entire chain of stores. And Sonepar has released its 2025 Consumer Responsibility Report. They are reaching their self-imposed sustainability and integrity goals. On the Court Reporter, Signify must revise claims in an ETI dispute. A judge wants more detail on the initial case. The Ohio Supreme Court has gutted submetering businesses. Renters can now pay fair rates for electricity now. Fanlight has sued Cree Lighting. This case concerns unpaid invoices from the Natural Lead brand. Rab versus Invictus's suit has been stayed by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. That review is incoming. A case from a school district in Burlington, Vermont, may continue. They have been suing Bayer over PCBs, and a judge has allowed that court case to proceed. On the tariff tracker, businesses can now apply for refunds from the illegal tariffs to an amount up to $166 billion. Those tariffs were paid by consumers, and the refunds will be paid by taxpayers. But don't you worry, the corporations that will get the refunds won't lower prices because of a completely different illegal set of actions in the Strait of Hormuz. Home builders, reacting to this pressure, are just switching to cheaper materials. And Canada has reformed its U.S. Trade Council, a multi-partisan group that will try to negotiate a better deal out of the next version of the USMCA. In events news, Audiovisual and Integrated Experience Association has bought Lightapalooza. The next version of that show will run alongside Infocom 27 in Orlando, Florida. WAC Lighting is hosting a design roundtable. That's Sunday at 1 p.m. in its showroom at the Spring High Point Market in April 25th to 29th. The Dali Summit will run alongside the ArcLight Summit this year. The ArcLight Summit runs September 15th to 16th in Dallas. Dali will run 16th and 17th, so you can get the whole weekend out. We have a new CIE webinar, Lighting the Way, Finding Balance Between Safety, Beauty, and the Night Sky. That's on May 15th on Zoom. In lighting controls, the University of Georgia Athens has published a review on the Internet of Chickens. They have published a review of studies both on connectivity and automation for poultry facilities, and their conclusion is that we need more studies. NESR has partnered with Miniso USA. This is new facility management tech for fancy dollar stores, I guess, is what I want to call Miniso if you've never been in one. And the Brava Cook with Light smart oven will be shutting down. The company is shutting down. Their cloud service is in question, which means that the ovens will probably turn into very fancy bricks not long after. In research and development, Chinese teams have studied a new set of lunar meteorites and found that cerium magnesium chainsight has been found in those moon rocks. That is a fluorescent material that could be used in OLED or micro LED lighting. Does sitting by a window really give the same benefits as daylight? Yes, actually. This is a study from UChicago that says as long as you're actually facing the window, if you're on the video version, I am gesturing to a window that you can't see, you are getting the full vertical illuminance. JLL has predicted $1 trillion in losses due to a shortage of skilled tradespeople in the U.S. Literally 2.1 million workers need to be brought on board into the skilled trades by 2030 to manage the age of infrastructure and the shifting in energy. We also have a new single image method from Columbia U to forecast solar irradiance, which means that you put one single 360-degree camera in one spot to determine the ideal placement of solar panels. Hydrothermal explosion timing can be determined by luminescence. This is a new method that uses the exposure. This is a new method of tracking geyser activity based on when the sediment was last exposed to light. We also have a new study that shows that the UV optical properties and machine learning of color perception, this tech can be used to determine the relative purity of certain very fancy phosphors. Also, Rice University is testing rare earth recycling with flash joule heating, which might be a better way of e-waste recycling using magnets. Junk from SpaceX satellites keeps landing in rural Canada, and we don't know what to do about that. SpaceX has conceded that putting data centers in orbit would be stupid. Night shift workers might benefit from having one orange lens in their glasses. Like one amber lens might actually stabilize their melanopic activity. A maker of OLEDs insists that OLEDs are better than micro-LEDs when it comes to light pollution. Allen, Light at Night, is shifting the colors of Chinese giant salamanders. Under Canvas Yosemite has been recognized by Dark Sky as a dark sky lodging. A ranch in Baja, California is the first dark sky lodging recognized in Mexico. The U.S. 11th Circuit Court has decreed that the Department of Homeland Security's concentration camp in Florida can stay open. SpaceX also wants EU-launched junk out of their orbital paths. The irony. Belgium will be removing 480 so-called pointless streetlights from rural regions near France. Gladsaxe, Denmark, has switched to red streetlights, and Turkish towns are testing similar lighting for wildlife safety. Cloudcroft, New Mexico, is activating their dark sky ordinance. We have a new sky glow measurement party going on in Estes, Colorado. Ovia has launched Better Sports Lighting. Not sponsored, not a sponsor of this, just Ovia has Better Sports Lighting. And we have a new astrophotography contest in Ireland. It is migration season, which means Oklahoma has set a new resolution to protect migrating birds. We have Lights Out awareness growing in Milwaukee, New York State, Oregon, and Georgia. And for the turtles, we have activists calling for more compliance measures in Garden City, South Carolina. In indoor horticultural, saffron prices are dropping fast. The U.S. DOJ has rescheduled cannabis to Category 1. Moroccan tomato exports have hit record highs. Glass might replace plastic in greenhouses for indoor growers. And a Chinese firm called Orlant is expanding their manufacturing efforts. Copper thieves struck the landlines at the East LA Sheriff's Station. In local updates, Manitoba is extending public safety grants to 4 more towns. Alabama is offering 11 grants to municipal governments for energy. California has rolled out new recycling labeling requirements. Montgomery County, Maryland has $1.2 million in security grants for nonprofits and religious orgs to spend. The Latter-day Saints, the Church of Latter-day Saints, is funding electrification on the Navajo Nation. Brock University is switching to LED. RGBW lighting is planned for a pedestrian bridge in Newport, Kentucky. We have new lighting at bus stops in the Dallas region. We have new AARP home grants in South Dakota. Hudson, New York has been struck by a surprise $105,000 utility bill after switching to LEDs on the streets. Montpelier, Vermont has completed their downtown lighting project. Layton, Pennsylvania schools have passed a bond for renovations. Alberta is offering a one-time security grant to schools in Calgary. College Station, Texas is upgrading its school infrastructure. Enumclaw, Washington is seeking grants from the state for sports field lighting. We have new rink lighting going up in Salmon Arm, BC. We have new high school football field lighting in Decatur, Texas. In world news, CES, City Electric Supply, they've bought 3 different businesses in Ireland. French towns are resuming street lighting after years of energy austerity because renewables are catching up, even now. Victims of genocide in Gaza are using their phones for lighting right now. Lawrence and Hanson, a Sonepar company, is opening a new fulfillment center in Victoria, Australia. Japan is ending decades-long electricity bill subsidies. And Moscow is upgrading the lighting at the Little League International Complex. Lastly, and a thing I thought was fun and weird, Universal Studios has shut off ground lighting at the Epic Universe theme park following an issue that had a similar issue with the ground lighting at Epcot. Let it never be said that theme park people don't talk to each other. Again, I've been Scott Wachter. I want to thank you for your time, your attentions, your ratings, your reviews, and clicking on the link in the description to visit sansyled.com to get cool horticultural lighting.